guys, in this episode of RTK, I am really excited to be continuing and finishing off my reactions to the American boy group Big Time Rush's new album, Another Life. The songs that we're gonna be checking out in this final part of it are going to be Ask You Tonight, Superstitious, and Another Life, the namesake of this album. And I gotta say, after listening to the last three songs, I am far more excited and open-minded about these three songs because we really didn't start off this album that well with the first song, that being I Just Wanna Party All the Time. It's not like it was a bad song necessarily. In fact, it's a derivative or a sample of a really good song by Eddie Murphy from like the 80s or something. You can find it on YouTube, or go to the first video to see which song I'm talking about. I'll show you a clip there. But it wasn't a great start to the album, but then came Weekends, which was really good. Work For It, which wasn't quite as good, but it was okay, kind of interesting. Then there was Forget You Now, which was really good as well. And then there was Brand New, which also was pretty decent. So I'm really kind of hopeful about the next couple of songs that we still have to check out. I think they're gonna be good. I'm positive. At least. I don't necessarily think any song on this album is gonna beat Weekends for my favorite song out of these B-sides, but I think they're gonna be not really gonna be. I think I Just Wanna Party All the Time is going to be the worst one of this album. But we're only gonna find out if I get into them, so I guess let's go. Although, before we do, as usual, I need to remind you that I would really appreciate it if you guys could help me out with my transition by donating to my Patreon, Coffee account, or my PayPal, because for those of you who didn't know, I am trans. And by doing so, you also get access to the ability to demand me to do K-pop reactions, which can include anything from a music video to an album or a whole artist's discography. I'm saying specifically K-pop because I don't really have an interest to check out things from the West in terms of music. If you guys want me to, I don't really have an interest in that. I just almost exclusively listen to K-pop nowadays. So that's where my focus is. But if you guys are fans of K-pop and you want me to react to some artists that I haven't reacted to yet, definitely go to my Patreon and subscribe at the specific tier that I offer this at. And if you subscribe at just the lowest tier, you would still get access to Patreon and coffee only vlogs that I do, which won't be uploaded on YouTube, at least not in the form that they are over there. It's if not daily, at least very regular vlogs that potentially in the future I might edit into some other video for YouTube, but that's gonna be far in the future, and it's probably gonna be just the same thing that I'm talking about in the vlogs, just gonna be redone, you know? But before we get into the reaction, I do want to remind you that I would really appreciate it if you guys could help me out with my transition by donating to my Patreon, Coffee account, or my PayPal, because for those of you who didn't know, I am trans, and by doing so, you also get the ability to demand me to do K-pop reactions, be it to a music video, an artist's discography, or a specific album. It's really up to you which one of these you want to go for. And I say K-pop specifically because I don't really have an interest to check out any Western stuff. If there is something interesting in the Western music world, I will have listened to it already, you know? I don't really like checking out stuff from the West for the most part, so I'm only focusing on K-pop in that regard. So if you are a K-pop fan, you want me to check out some K-pop stuff, definitely go and subscribe at the specific tier that I offer that at. Or if you're not interested in that, there's also a tier, which is the lowest tier, which you can just give me general support and get access to the Patreon and coffee only regular vlogs, not necessarily daily, but very regular vlogs that I'm gonna be doing and have started doing by the time you see this video. So if you're interested in that at the very least, go and subscribe. But yeah, enough chit chat, let's get into what you're here for, that being the reaction to the final three songs of the Big Time Rush Another Life album. So let's continue with the next song, Ask You Tonight, in 3, 2, 1.
I think the writing's on the wall. off for far too long. It's not so
I like the acoustic guitar.
when you meet the one. I'm gonna tell you tonight everything you wanna hear, and for the rest of my life, just like a million more years. You're the only one I wanna love, the only one this I promise you. If that sounds alright, I might just ask you tonight.
Some really good vocals in this one, I gotta say.
When I'm with you, you fix me up like I'm brand new. Now I'm no longer waiting on forever love. I'm gonna tell you tonight everything you wanna hear, and for the rest of my life, just
Honestly, this song kind of weirdly reminds me of their OG Nickelodeon music.
love, the only one this I promise you. If that sounds alright, I might just ask you tonight. Just ask you I'm gonna tell you tonight everything you wanna hear, and for the rest of my life, plus like a million more years. You're the only one I wanna love, the only one this I promise you. If that sounds alright, I might just ask you tonight.
I think I like this one a little bit more compared to Brand New, I gotta say.
Just ask you. Just ask you tonight.
Okay. Honestly, not bad. In many ways, this is kind of like a better version of what the last song was, like I already said. And I say that because it's similarly kind of slow and kind of emotional and kind of ballady, but I think this one is better because I think the acoustic guitar sound kind of works better for this kind of song. It kind of reminds me of Cover Girl. You remember that old song of theirs, Cover Girl? It's basically a modernized version of... This is a modernized version of that. Not necessarily for the better, but it is a modernized version of that, and that's kind of why I really, really like it. Still, it's not like as good as like Weekends or Forget You Now, but I think it's better than Brand New, and that's why I'll give this one an 8.3 out of 10. Pretty solid song. I like it. I think I'll end up listening to this one more than Brand New, because, I mean, like I already said it, it's the same thing but better. So most likely I'm just gonna end up overlooking Brand New because I just enjoy this one more. But yeah, I did enjoy the vocals in this one. I also found it just generally a little bit more interesting compared to Brand New. But yeah, it was a generally nice song that could be really cool to listen to at the end of a concert, you know? It's the very much that kind of like melancholic, the low after the last party high kind of song that I really, really like. So yeah, solid song. I like it. I'm loving the second half of this album. I mean, not really the second half, but like, I'm loving how much I'm actually enjoying this album, like genuinely. Because I'm like liking so many of these songs so much more than their title tracks recently. Like, I don't know if it's just the novelty of it, or there's just a little bit more experimentation and just a little bit something different in these B-sides compared to the title tracks, but I don't know, I just kind of find them more intriguing at the very least. Maybe not better, maybe not more exciting, but more intriguing at the very least. But yeah, we still have 2 more songs to check out, so let's continue with the next one, Superstitious, in 3, 2, 1.
I'm defenseless at your fingertips. You're writing a script for proof, and it's reckless, but I can't resist. You're pulling me into you. I'm in my skin, never letting you go. Got me drowning in this mattress. Superstitious, but you're throwing down the magic on me.
Okay, that ba-da-da-da-da-da is really catchy. I think at this point I cannot really hate a single song on this album. I think I like them all. Is it my favorite album? No, but it's fun and enjoyable, especially for the nostalgic Big Time Rush fan that I am. Okay, that is really goddamn catchy, what the hell? I gotta say though, this song is definitely carried by that chorus, and specifically by that ba-da-da-da-da part, for sure. Because like the rest of the song is very much on the blander side, and you're gonna see what I mean when I tell you the rating for this song, because I already have it. But yeah, honestly, not that bad. I think it's kind of enjoyable. I expected something a little bit more out of this song because it has such an interesting title compared to some of these other generic ass titles, but it didn't really live up to it much. So there's that. But in terms of actual enjoyment, I like it. It's kind of a chill bop, in kind of an album full of chill bops, so not really breaking new ground in that regard. And in terms of its blandness, it's kind of the second most bland song on this album. I still think the first one is I Just Wanna Party All the Time, because outside of that part which they have taken from that song by Eddie Murphy, I just don't really remember it much and I don't really care for it much. But similarly, in the case of this song, outside of the part that goes ba-da-da-da-da-da, I just don't really care about it. You know, it's just not particularly interesting outside of that. It's very bland, it's very I just don't really have an opinion. I don't even hate it, I just don't care. So yeah, because of that, it is kind of on the blander side. And because of that, in terms of a rating for this one, I'm going to go with a 7.8 out of 10. Because yeah, it's still kind of catchy, still kind of enjoyable, but the fact that that little onomatopoeia part of the song is what carries it, it's not a good look for the song. But it's still pretty decent. Like, I'm still enjoying it. I still think it's fun. And in general, I think this album is actually probably better than I have portrayed it as, and better than I give it credit for. But yeah, I like it. I think I'm gonna end up listening to all of these songs because they're still like, maybe it's my personal attachment to Big Time Rush, but or maybe it's the fact that the songs are in English, so I have an easier time getting attached to these songs, even as much as I don't like them. But if this was an album in Korean, I would not really care about it whatsoever. I wouldn't give two shits about it. But because it's in English and because it's Big Time Rush, which is a group that I'm nostalgic for from when I was a child, I guess I have just lower standards and just like less barriers that need to be broken for me to enjoy it, you know? But yeah, I do think it's genuinely pretty good. Pretty decent. Again, I don't think these songs, if you put them besides the ones from Nickelodeon, I still would pick the Nickelodeon ones every time, but they're not that bad. I prefer this over no music. I guess let's put it that way. But yeah, we still have one more final song to check out, which is the namesake of the album, Another Life. So without further ado, let's get into and finish off this album with the final song, Another Life, in 3, 2, 1.
I don't recognize the room I'm waking up in. I don't see the way I look in my reflection. And time is passing even faster by the second. I wanna live in every moment while I still can. I'm not gonna wait for another life. I don't wanna wake up and wonder why I didn't love more, why I didn't trust more, I didn't try to see the good things. I'm not gonna wait for
Same. I'm not gonna wait for another life. That's why I finally started my transition and came out to my mom, despite the fact that it was scary as fuck. It's the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. But that sentiment of I don't want to wait for another life is what drove me to do it. And I'm happier for it now. I like the sentiment of this song is what I'm trying to say. Exactly. I'm gonna risk it all and transition even if it kills me. I'd rather try and die than not try and still die. So while the song, I feel like it's too slow and everything, I like the sentiment they're conveying in this song. That's cool. And I'm sorry for my voice sounding weird. It's tired. I've recorded so much today. And this song is even shorter than I thought. It's like, what, 2 minutes? Barely even 2 minutes. Okay. Honestly, like I said, I do really like the sentiment of this song. It's probably the song with an actual, like, the one song with an actual deep message, that it's not just relationship-based song about, oh, I like this girl, I really like her, which is the typical variation of a K-pop, of a pop song. This one actually has a little bit of a more interesting and deep message, and I personally really resonate with it, because like I said, that's the kind of thinking that has driven me to finally be myself. Because I've been wanting to transition from male to female as a trans person ever since I started my YouTube channel. I've wanted it and I've tried to do it, but the fact that time kept passing and that year after year I have not really been making any progress is kind of what drove me to finally come out to my mom in the beginning of this year. And it was fucking terrifying. I made a video about it. If you want to see it, you can find it on the channel. And it was scary. But I felt so relieved when I came out to her. And she has helped me actually achieve the beginning of my transition. In a couple of months, by the time you see this video, I probably have started HRT, which is awesome. And this sentiment of like, I can't let myself just wither away without doing and being myself. Time keeps passing. I don't have another life to live. So unless I want to be 40 years old and regret not transitioning and kill myself, I should start transitioning now, whatever the consequences may be. And that's kind of how I think right now. I don't care if my father ends up kicking me out. I don't care if my father ends up beating me to death or anything like that for being trans or being shamed by everybody in my small town that I'm trans. I don't care. I have to be me because I don't have another life to live. And again, I'm going on a tangent here, but I'm trying to tell you why this song, the sentiment at least, means a lot to me. Because the song itself, I mean, I don't really care too much about it. It's a very slow, ballady song, which, if you have seen any of my K-pop reactions or Rate the K episodes, you would know that I'm not a big fan of ballad songs. Even in English, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of those. I'm far more able to enjoy them in English, but even in English, I can take it or leave it, you know? But because of the sentiment that I really relate to, and because it's still not really that bad of a song, it's just very slow and very kind of empty, I think I'm actually going to end up listening to it. Sure, it's not going to be anything that I'm going to replaying anywhere near as much as Weekends, or Forget You Now, or Ask You Tonight, or I Just Want to Party All the Time even, but with this nice sentiment, nice message, and the fact that it's still like a soft and nice, calming, soothing song to listen to, I think there's enough good in it for me to like end up listening to it, you know? But yeah, in terms of a rating, for message, 10 out of 10. For the song itself, I think I'm gonna go, I mean, might as well go with an 8 out of 10. That's the only rating that I haven't given yet, you know? And I think that's pretty accurate, because like the message does carry the song, but it's pretty good, and I think an 8 out of 10 is a good signifier of that. I think people who are less picky than me, get it, are gonna be able to enjoy it more. Like people who don't really mind slower songs are gonna end up able to enjoy it more. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. And yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty decent album. Again, none of these songs are masterpieces or anything. Maybe Weekends is. I think that one has a potential to be a masterpiece, but I still need to listen to it more. But it's still pretty decent. And I honestly gave them too much shit after listening to the first song before listening to the rest of the album, because it is not bad, but I still feel like there's definitely more depth and power and impact that could be given to these songs. And I don't know if it is them just going for like a modern pop style or whatever, but I want something at least similar to like Parallel. That's what I want from them. Like, you know, the song by Kendall, Parallel, I want more of that. That's the kind of shit that I want. That kind of impact. Not necessarily the sound or the production even. Just the impact. Because like that song is so powerful, so emotional, and so hard-hitting. I love it. I want more of that. But yeah, I don't know. I am curious though, what do you guys think about these final three songs and this album as a whole? So comment thoughts down below and let's have a discussion about this. And also, before we end this video, I just want to give a huge shout out to my currently 3 patrons on Patreon: Deadpool, Corvidette, and Kaylin McQueen. Thank you guys for your support, I really appreciate it. It really means a lot to me. You have decided to support me, you have continued to support me for such a long time. I hope you continue to enjoy my content and continue to support me going forward. Thank you very much. And if you enjoy my stories, you can head over to my Patreon, my Coffee account, or my PayPal, where you can pledge your support and help me the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing the stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do any of that, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think it's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!